Welcome to another episode of Dr. Impact's Quarantine Comic Book Prescription. Well, I finally got to finish reading it. So this week we are talking about Aquaman, The Search for Mera. A little bit of backstory real quick on Aquaman and why I'm reading this for the new to you Comic Book Day post this week. If you've listened to the podcast, you know that Dragonus Prime and I are brothers. And Mr. X and I have known each other for, roughly 20 years, and he's practically like family. He's practically a brother, and we've known Pistol and Smurfy both for forever. So they're all very much like brothers as well. But what you may not know is that there is another brother. Dragonus and I had a younger brother who, through an unfortunate accident, passed away about, I think that was 12 years ago now. And anyway, he was a massive Aquaman fan, just a huge Aquaman fan. So, after he passed away, of course, we all wanted to keep various different things, and I kept his Aquaman comics. I still have all of them. Well, over the years, I've kind of, as a result, gotten into it. So, because of my youngest brother, I've kind of become this Aquaman fan now. And when this it came out, I forget how long ago this collection came out, maybe a year ago, I think, maybe, or something like that. Anyway, I had to have it right away. So I finally got around to reading it. I have to start off by saying that I love this story. I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. What this is a collection that came out, like I said, about a year ago, and it collects issues 40 through 48, I want to say it is, of the pre-crisis, Silver Age Aquaman series. I want to say it's from like 1968, 1969, somewhere around there. It's written by Steve Skeets, and the art is by Jim Aparo, the great Jim Aparo. So if any of you know those old school classic 70s Batman books, and I think Aparo maybe did some of them in the 80s too, I'm not sure. But anyway, Jim Aparo, this is some of his earlier work in this, and it's just beautiful. The basic idea behind the story is that in issue 40, right off the bat, Aquaman, Mera, and Aqualad, and Aquagirl, I think all four of them are together. These weird whirlpool and bubbles kind of like come up, and it knocks them all kind of for a loop, makes them all weak and a little unconscious, sort of. Anyway, when they all come to and the whirlpools are all gone, so is Mera. Mera has vanished. And Aquaman was almost able to stop it, but there was someone in this whirlpool, underwater water tornado thing that was occurring that punched Aquaman in the jaw, and he had a ring on. So that's really the only clue that Aquaman has to go on. So what happens is, for basically the course of the rest of this book, is that Aquaman has taken his right hand, his trusted advisor, his deputy chief, I think is what his position is, Narcron. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but anyway, he puts him in charge of Atlantis, and he says, you watch over things, you make the call on things, I'm going to go and try and find Mera. Aqualad and Aquagirl stay behind. Aqualad was very hurt, so, they all stay behind. Aquaman runs off. And so for Aquaman, throughout the rest of the book, it's him kind of trying to trace these clues and travel around trying to put this information together, and he goes into some really crazy places. Like, he goes into the depths and finds different civilizations down there, and he fights various different kinds of monsters and creatures, and it ends up taking him to the surface world, and of course, he has to come across Black Manta at some point, so that was a very cool fight, that issue. Meanwhile, back in Atlantis, Aqualad is starting to heal, and he's like, I'm gonna get out of here, I gotta go find Aquaman and help him, but he has no idea where he went, so he just like takes off. And Narcron, in the meantime, starts getting, let's say, drunk with power, and he starts to kind of take over Atlantis, and his intent is to become a new tyrannical king, almost, of Atlantis, in the hopes that Aquaman will either never return, or when he does, he'll just take him out and continue to rule. Now, I don't want to say too much about the ending, about where Mera ended up being taken. I will say that as all of this is going on, there are also these crazy earthquakes that are occurring in Atlantis. So you've got Aquaman missing, and he's chasing down leads, trying to find Mera. Mera, who is missing, who's been kidnapped, possibly. Aqualad, who's off running around trying to find Aquaman, has no idea where he's going, and he's been kidnapped by this different society and being forced to fight underwater sea creatures. Then you've got Aqua Girl, who is back in Atlantis, and Narcron, who is taking control of Atlantis while these earthquakes are going on, and then meanwhile there's these surface dwellers who have created this device that does something. I don't want to say what, I don't want to spoil, but it does something, and it's not good. So there's a lot going on in this book, and it is just fun. If you like old school 60s, early 70s comics, absolutely don't pass this book up. Obviously, it's dated. Yes, of course, there are moments in there where, you know, a bad guy may say something like, "Do this for our evil brothers," you know, or something cheesy. I mean, it's really pretty cheesy at times, but that's the era. So if you kind of push that to the side and you understand that that's what the style was, then it's not that bad, and it's actually really fun and really exciting. The biggest drawback I have to the entire thing, the only real negative piece of critique I could have for it, are the layouts. Sometimes the layouts are a little strange. The panels do these weird shapes and breakdowns that sometimes make it kind of difficult to figure out going from panel to panel. And it seems to happen at least once per issue in the 8 or 9 issues, whatever it is. But that's really the only downside. The other amazing thing about this story are the covers and Jim Apparo's art. I mean, these covers just pop. These are just so freaking cool. Let me see if I can find the best one that's in here. Yeah, here we go. The fight with Black Manta. This cover is just fantastic. So, if you like Aquaman, if you like old school Silver Age comics, I can't recommend it enough. It's certainly one of the better ones. It's certainly more adult in its approach to storytelling than most things probably from that era. But while still being, of course, you know, very dated at the same time. But it's just a blast, you know. Check it out. The book is out. It's available. It came out about a year ago, so you should be able to still find it anywhere. Aquaman, The Search for Mera. It's really, really worth it. And that's it for this week's New to You Comic Book Day. I'm not sure what we'll tackle next week. We'll see what comes about. In the meantime, as always, share with us what's new to you this week. You know, we love to see your videos. We love to see pictures of the books that you're reading. Comment and post either on this video or go to our website for the podcast itself. So anyway, see you next week.